Transparent Shoemaker. This is a use case 3 presentation. So we're going to go ahead. So we are going to look into the descriptive, predictive, and prescriptive objectives we want to answer. So the first descriptive is we're going to identify climate-related risks and opportunities, and then how to reduce waste as the company grows. For predictive, we are going to conduct climate scenario analysis to assess potential impacts based on possible future climate scenarios, and then exploration of alternative options for single-use plastic bags. And then for the prescriptive, we are going to look into incentives to customers for sustainable choices being used within the store. And then the last prescriptive is improved climate management process. So brainstorming different data sources, it can go one of many ways. So potential internal structured data. So we can do reward program effectiveness. We can also look at the amount of waste produced by store, and then also the amount of waste produced by the region, and then also looking at internal transaction data within the company. So potential internal unstructured data. So this can be the Dick's Sporting Good or DSG virtual teammate. We can also do a current vendor agreement portal, and then also corporate email or social media. We can grab information from that and bring it in to this. And then potential external data sources. So a big one being EPA.gov, so Environmental Protection Agency. Kaggle, which is a very commonly used one. And then Statista. And then NSGA, so the National Sporting Goods Association. All of these are external to the company as a whole, but are very useful when looking at the environmental options or environmental tasks that we want to tackle. So the data assessment worksheet. So looking at the use cases, and then so looking at data sources and then use cases, you can see that for use case 1, that the Starbucks Rewards program through Kaggle, it might be useful, but what will likely be useful to us would be the EPA municipal waste data set and the CO2 emissions from fossil fuels. So information from Kaggle. Use case 2 has a similar one in the EPA data, but also personal plastic waste and Austin's waste and diversion rates, also through Kaggle. Use case 3, again, the EPA data is it seems that would be very useful in that situation. And then something that is also very useful, like in use case 1, would be the CO2 emissions from fossil fuels. And then 2 that might be useful, but we don't really know, would be the hourly energy consumption, and again, the Austin's waste and diversion rates, those might be. And then for use case 4, personal plastic waste is most likely will be useful, and then there are 3 that will likely be useful, but not really sure yet, so that's the EPA information, the CO2 emissions from fossil fuels, and then the Dick's Sporting Goods web traffic data from thinknum.com. And then for use case 5, a lot of the same. The only one that's really different is the demographic data for segmentation, so customer data, spending habits, and that came from Kaggle. And then for use case 6, the only new one that comes into play is the plastic recycling codes that comes through Kaggle. So basically the prioritization matrix. So you can see that for number 1, so identify climate-related risk and opportunities, that it has high business value, but it's sort of in the middle when coming to implementation feasibility. When looking at 2, which is the orange, how to reduce waste as the company grows, so this one right here, it is again high in business value, and it's sort of 3/4 of the way over in implementation feasibility, so it's a little easier to implement than 1 was. So yellow, little different. So conducting climate scenario analysis to assess potential impact based on possible future climate scenarios. So it's high in business value, but it's somewhat lower in the implementation feasibility section of it. For 4, we're looking at the green, so that's exploration of alternative options for single-use plastic bags. So that's high on both ends of the business value and implementation. 5, which is this blue right here, it's the lowest in terms of business value, but it's still pretty far over in the implementation, so not ideal, but there. And then for 6, improved climate management processes. So it's this purple one. It's very high in business value, but it's sort of in the middle, right less than 50% when it comes to the implementation of it all. So this is our big data strategy document. So you can see that our company is Dick's Sporting Goods. The initiative is assessing our environmental footprint as stewards of the planet. Key entities are sort of the 2 main things we want to do. So eliminate single-use plastic, point-of-sale plastic bags in all stores by 2025, and reduce the GHG emissions by 30%. The key decisions, so how can we lower our footprint? What incentive will inspire customer commitment while encouraging loyalty to the company? And then what impact does past, current, and future operations have on the climate? So when looking at the descriptive, predictive, and prescriptive questions, this is what was talked about earlier within the use cases. And then our main data sources are most likely going to be from the EPA and CAGL.